All right, welcome to the first episode of Locked Cage MMA. I'm Brian the Beast Eastlick, and with me is
Josh Little Spartan Smith.
Yep. Two would you say washed up MMA fighters?
Yeah. Old.
Old.
I got one more round.
That's that's the one thing that I hate is like I will watch MMA or I'll go to an MMA fight and be like, I got one more in me. I could do it. And then like I always talk myself out of it. I'm like, you liked the fighting, you liked the grappling, but the punching in the face you did not enjoy.
Yeah.
But
I always have that feeling commentating on fights where I'm like, hey, I could get in there and go with this guy. And then I get up out of my commentating chair and realize that I can barely walk. So no, I can't do that.
With enough physical therapy, we can get you maybe 2 rounds.
Cortisone shots in every orifice of the body.
Oh man, that's yeah, that's one thing that I just like my shoulders get real sore, even though I've been lifting. They were getting sore before that, but like right in here, just a lot of brutality on my shoulders, from wrestling and shit like that my whole life. So
wrestling it beats up your whole body.
Yeah, a lot of people have hip issues with it. I've never had hip issues with my hips. So I don't necessarily I do shoot a lot of shots when I wrestle with heavyweights and stuff that I help coach, but I don't do it a ton. I just do it when I think it's available, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but it's a lot of heavy pummeling and grappling up top with the heavyweights, but
I haven't done any grappling in so long. It would be hard for me to keep my breath for 1 minute rounds.
Well, let's just be honest. You wouldn't even really have to do any grappling because you'd be always looking for that guillotine, right?
That's right.
That
always happened.
You had 40 some odd fights, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I finished many men from that.
Pause. Yeah,
it's bad with that. When you put your head in and you're going in for that takedown as a wrestler, you got to be conscious that where's my head at. You don't want to just put your head on their side and leave it right there. You're going to sneak that arm in. It doesn't matter how much you put somebody on the ground. Once that's locked in, it's nasty.
I've been in my last fight I was in a guillotine for a good amount of time. And it was just, I had a real good shot on him, got him taken down. He had that guillotine in on me, and he didn't have it around my neck, but I don't have hardly any neck, if you can tell. Yeah. Hardly any. So, but he had it there. He had it wrapped, and I had my head into the mat, and I just kept putting pressure on the head, and I know I was in there for a good amount of time, but it was one of those things. I was like, it's not in there, don't freak out. And my coach is yelling at me, and he's telling me what to do. I can't hear a damn word because both my ears are covered, but he's like, I was telling you what to do, and I was like, I didn't hear a damn thing you said. He's like, well, you're listening to me pretty good. I'm like I just knew we've drilled it before. So, but yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those moves where if you get it in, it's lights out. It's so common, just like the rear naked choke is nowadays. Yes. I feel like a lot of people will get that guillotine in, and it's so easy to hit, and then that rear naked choke is too sometimes. People that are good at grappling or somewhat good at grappling, if you can get behind someone and get a hook in, get that choke in. You know, most of the time, a lot of people don't know how to fight that, you know, rear naked choke off. So, but I've seen a lot of fights recently. Like, it's just like pretty much whenever they get that back, that rear naked choke is like coming like ASAP. And
absolutely, it's just the go-to for almost everybody. It's the first thing you learn in jiu-jitsu. It's the first thing you learn in almost every grappling martial art that there is out there. It's just one of those ones that's just handed to you in the very beginning, and you never lose it. You see it right away.
I feel like the guillotine's almost something that you do naturally.
I agree. It just feels natural, even from the beginning, from the first start. When you first start doing it, and a lot of moves don't feel natural at all.
No.
They are very hard to get the right angle down, get your body in the right positions.
I feel very blessed that I was a wrestler, because I feel like if I had to learn the sport of wrestling as a fighter, I feel like it would be so much harder for me to like get grappling down. But like, that was my whole game, was grappling. So I didn't really like to stand and bang with people. I wasn't my thing. Like, I was going for that takedown, and I was going for, you know, ground and pound mainly. Like, I didn't try to get submissions. I was a guy that was going to take you down and then try to get to mount and knock you out, or even from guard, you know, just hit shots until the ref stopped me, you know. But
I wore people out with my face. That was my entire MO. Just hit me until you're tired, and then I will win. It worked really well.
I mean, you're like Muhammad Ali, though. You got clear face, man. There ain't nothing too bad on you.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely broke this giant schnoz of mine very, very, very many times. So I'm going to use that as an excuse of why it is just a giant nose on my face. It's because it was broken so many times.
Yeah. I remember my good buddy Josh Gutcher. He was in boxing and MMA for so long. You know, he passed away a couple years ago, but he's kind of the guy that when I started doing MMA, he was the guy in my town who was the MMA fighter. So like, when I got into fighting, I hit him up, and we went to a few places, but then ultimately I think we settled with first in Centerville. I can't even remember the name of the fight team out of Centerville when I first started, but it was Mark Mosley and John Owens, and
I don't know what it is.
I can't even remember it. But it was so long ago.
Yeah, why? It's old man brain. That's the problem. Old man brain. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, but I started out with them, and me and him went there all the time. We did a lot of grappling there, but I remember he had permanent black eyes just from boxing and MMA and all that stuff. And it's like, some of these people don't get to escape with such, you know, beautiful faces like we got. Unscathed, I guess you could say.
As many times as I got beat up, and as many pictures as I have my face looking like a busted cherry pie, it is amazing that I don't just look completely deformed. So human body is an amazing thing.
Looking like what's his name from the Goonies?
Oh yes.
Old man brain again, right?
I can't think of anything that everybody's gonna be listening to this. People.
They're gonna be like, yeah.
Like, I can't even understand what the Goonies are.
Half the people that watch this will be, you know, younger than us. They'll be like, what are the Goonies?
No. Maybe it's us.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get some older fans that know what we're talking about.
I would hope so. That would be nice.
I feel like sometimes if we mention some of the very beginning, like UFC fights, but like, you know, after it's out of the tournament and stuff, like I think even talking about like Forrest Griffin, sometimes people are like, what era is that? Who's Rampage Jackson? I'm like, what?
I'm starting to hear that, and it's like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
it's mind-boggling to think that people don't know who that is because they're pioneers of the sport and some of the first champions to ever be in the sport. So it's kind of hard to see that, but it's nice to see that the sport has grown so much as well.
Oh yeah, I was really pumped when I saw Jens Pulver get inducted to the Hall of Fame recently.
Way overdue.
Oh yeah,
way overdue, and congratulations to him. But almost insulting that it took so long for them to realize that the first lightweight champion in the UFC should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he had a pretty good career, and like the big thing was I think what got him back into, like, people were like remembering him as he got into streaming. I actually found him on Twitch. If you know what Twitch is, I don't know if you do. You said you don't like social media.
I know what social media is. I know every platform. I just don't like them. It's just a personal thing. But yeah, I know what Twitch is. It's a lot of gaming on Twitch. A lot of gaming. Like, what do you want to call it? Like, gamers are on Twitch. That's we followed on there. So I see a lot of it.
I seen him. He was actually playing, he would actually play. He played World of Warcraft. Jens Pulver did. So I didn't even like World of Warcraft, but like I liked Jens Pulver. So I would watch his stream. I would get in there and hang out and talk to him and stuff. And like he went from, and then like he started doing sumo fights, or matches. I don't think they call them fights, but like sumo matches. He'd commentate on street beefs and stuff like that, those fights. And, and then he started hosting stuff on the UFC channel on Twitch, and they watch old fights, UFC fights. He commentates on them. That was pretty cool. And I think they do play-by-plays on Twitch as well for the fight cards. So like he's watching it, but like they don't show it on the channel or anything, but you hear him like commenting on what's happening and stuff, which is pretty neat. It's pretty it's I think it gives a unique perspective when you have people that have been in the cage like give perspective on what's happening and stuff. So
absolutely.
So I gave a little bit of my my background on where I came from and stuff, but let's get a little into on your journey into MMA. Like, what got you motivated to fight? Who got you into fighting? Where you trained and stuff like that?
Any of us to fight? I think it's a screw loose in the head. Really, it's the competition. I think once you get out into the real world and you realize that the only competition you have is just is no longer physical anymore. You don't have sports. You don't have. You can go to college. You can become a professional. But how many people actually get to do that? And I think that's a big thing. MMA really does give just anybody a chance to become a star. Anybody can try it out. Anybody can get in there and give it a go and see if it's for them and give their effort and try and make a good shot at it, because it's all over the whole world. So everyone can do it. Not everyone has the opportunity to have all the gear needed for football or some other sport. So I think that was kind of what put me into it. Is you can be a poor man and you can fight. So
that was.
I loved a lot of those guys back in the day. Like you mentioned Rampage Jackson, like people not knowing, and I was a big Randy Couture fan. Big Randy Couture fan. It was really, really bad towards the end. I was such a big fan, and I kept getting that freaked out. Oh God, don't hit him, don't hit him.
Almost kind of like Liddell toward the end. He was. It was sad.
It was sad because I have a lot of respect for that guy, and I just don't like to see bad things happen to people. Like that he really helped launch your love for a sport. So it's hard to see something like that happen.
Yeah.
But I got into it because basically I just enjoyed the sport. I have a love for the sport. And I have had a love for the sport since, good Lord, the 1990s. I remember going and renting. My parents owned the local movie store back when you could, rent VHS tapes. So there we go. Just dating myself.
Explain to the kids what a blockbuster type
Yeah, I mean, literally was like, Blockbuster. You go in and you rent a movie, you physically take a copy home, and that's how you had to watch them back in the day.
You have to bring it back, though. You have to bring it back.
You have to pay for it to keep it for 24 hours and bring it back, or else you get late fees, just like a library. And I'm sure that I'm gonna have to explain what a library is now.
It's like Google, but like a physical place.
Crazy, right? Crazy.
And
that sport is just amazing. MMA is absolutely fantastic. I mean, like I said, anybody can do it, and that's what really gets me going in the sport.
Oh yeah. So we were talking a little bit before, we've kept in touch throughout the years. Like we don't like talk every day, but we'd hit each other up once in a while. We were talking recently, you had your own gym for a while too, or was it just kind of just you guys are all training in a similar place or something like that? Or
actually, there was a while there where everyone trained in Knoxville, where I'm from, at Tallman's Martial Arts, which was Bob Tallman was he is a national judo champion. And absolutely amazing human being. So I trained there, and it was nice because he's family friend, and his son's family friend. So the whole family I knew, and everybody around really came in and trained there because we finally started getting gyms together. And I remember back in that day, you didn't have gyms. You had a couple of guys that got together in their garage and worked out together because that's all you had. And you would throw down mats or blankets or old mattresses or anything you could find to kind of pad the blow of you getting thrown on your ass. So it was nice to finally have a gym. And that was really towards the end before I actually had a gym that was close, because most of the only gym was, gyms are in Des Moines or the big cities. Obviously, we're from Iowa. So, but yeah, it's just, it was real hard back then to find a gym and find somebody to train with. So you really kind of ran around and trained with everybody. And then you're fighting everybody that you're training with. And so then there's just a whole lot of problems. So it's nice. It's a lot nicer that the gyms are better. There's a lot more safety involved. I mean, back when I started, you didn't do blood work, and back then you didn't have to.
Nope. I never did any blood work or anything for any of my fights. Which, it's crazy. I don't think I fought anybody that was necessarily, I had to worry about. So, I like I said, I trained in Centerville for a while. I knew I was really, as a wrestler, I was lacking a boxing background. So I actually hit up a guy that was living in my hometown. His name was Jeff Morris. He great boxing coach, won Golden Gloves. He was he was hesitant to take me on because he said that he didn't like training heavyweights, but I was a wrestler, so in my mind I'm always trying to I don't get lazy when I do stuff. So I soaked in everything like a sponge. When he was when we do bag work and stuff like that, he'd be on me to be throwing punches out and stuff. So I'd throw out the volume. He said he really changed his mind on training heavyweights because most of them were just lazy, and they'd look for one big punch and stuff like that. And I was I knew, so I was going to have to use boxing to set up my wrestling. So I worked at Centerville. Then I worked here in Albia with Jeff as my boxing coach. And then we went up to Oski with Fearless Fight Team. And I think they were a really good, solid group of guys. And they really kind of elevated me. Even though I had 5 fights, I think the last 3 of my fights I fought with Fearless, and I think they really helped me as far as take it to the next level where I needed to be. Even though I didn't, I quit after my last fight. I didn't really quit, but I I just never took another fight, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I kind of bounced between gyms too. So I guess that's kind of how it was. You had a group of guys. You didn't go to one place and get trained for everything like people can do nowadays.
You didn't have that. Yeah. You didn't have the ability to have, it was real specialized. And now we're finally getting, gyms that have very good coaches that know what they're doing and help you out. So it's really nice to see the good gyms. There's a few gyms, like I said, in the bigger cities way back in the day, but we didn't come from the bigger cities. So it did make it hard. And it was who was training and who could you train with? And you're trying to get the most experience possible. It was crazy back then. I mean, my first fight was on a dirt floor. Well, the cage was on a dirt floor. The dirt floor was a cattle barn in Oski.
Wow.
That was my very first fight. I remember having to wipe my feet off because they were dirt. And they literally had dirt on them from walking in, so they didn't bring a bunch of dirt in the cage. So yeah.
Wow.
It's really came a long ways, and it's really nice to see. I've had many amateur fights. I never went pro. I never had a pro fight, and I never had a desire to really have a pro fight. It wasn't really my thing. I just liked fighting, but I didn't. I never seen a career or money in it. From my point of view, I think is what it was. I don't see how I can make it. Wrong era. I would be too old by the time money was going to be available for the sport. Is really what I thought, and I believe that to be still true. We're still hearing a bunch of problems with fighter pay and not getting paid enough, and they make more after they leave the UFC. You hear all that now, and so it's getting to that point where it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I could have made some money maybe, but what if you're just on the lower end, you never make it to the top, and you get beat up for chump change your whole life? I wasn't going to do that. And I really do hope that we see a bigger change in their pay coming up.
I think the people that from our area that kind of made the UFC, and I know, or like bigger organizations, I think they kind of didn't see success because they weren't well rounded when they made it there. And I'm not saying anything bad about them. They made it farther than I ever did, and my perspective is maybe they didn't have the well-rounded training like a lot of these guys, even at that time for UFC had. And so they got there, and the competition level in Iowa wasn't as good as it was at the UFC level. And I mean, we've even had people in, I'm talking about back in the day when the ones that we've had recently have been pretty good. I'd say Helen Peralta did great. She got onto the Ultimate Fighter, and she's fighting in the PFL now. I think you said, right?
Yep. She's got a PFL fight coming up. I believe we're 13 days out, 14 days out, somewhere around
nice.
There, for her PFL fight. I mean, she's got a win over the bare knuckle fighting championships, female 145er. So I mean, I think that's a pretty good accomplishment. It looks good on the resume when I've been on the Ultimate Fighter. I went over the champion in another organization. That's not too bad for someone coming out of small little Iowa.
I think she's a lot, like, because the sport's progressed so much. She has more of a more well-rounded background than back in the day when we had fighters that would come out of here and go to the UFC. They kind of were more one-dimensional than the fighters now.
The whole sport, if you look back, you were a wrestler. You were Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You were a striker because you came from boxing, or you had one discipline back in the day. And it really wasn't, it was mixed martial arts because you were taking karate and putting it against wrestling, but it was not really, they weren't mixed martial artists. And now what we have, and you see in that, in Alexander Volkanovski, I'll bring him up in his most recent fight. He didn't get the nod from the judges, and I'm not going to go into that, whether the judges are correct or not correct. It's just the fact that you watch how well-rounded he was. He's good on his feet. He was good on the ground. He was good in every facet of that fight. He was good. or great. He was great in every facet, and that's what you see now in the sport. They're not one dimensional. You're not one guy's the best striker you've ever seen. He's just the best grappler you've ever seen. You got to be good at everything and great at a few things to be top tier at least.
Oh yeah. I think you look at like Brian Ortega, I think he's really stepped up from where he was. If you look at his striking, he got a lesson from Max Holloway in the middle of the fight, but like you watch his fight against Volkanovski, he had Volkanovski in a triangle 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
He had that guillotine in on him. He fought that off. Volkanovski also doesn't have a neck either. So
no, the man he's just on a different level. And that's the thing is you see these champions, some of these guys are on a different level. And the number 2 guy he still beats everybody else, but he can't beat that one guy above him. So you see that, and there's just so many levels. I mean, how long has Colby Covington been sitting at 170 at number 2? He just can't get past that one person. Everybody has their kryptonite person. It just happens. I think from when Chuck Liddell was fighting, it was Rampage Jackson couldn't stop that punch from Rampage.
He lost to him in what? He lost to him in Pride, and he lost to him in the UFC, right?
He definitely lost to him in Pride, and he lost to him in the UFC. And both, I believe. It was both for titles, I believe. For sure, the UFC.
I think the Pride was a tournament. I don't know if it was. I can't remember if it was for a title or not. But I thought it was in a tournament or something, or maybe it was a one-off or something. But
it very well could have been.
I remember reading it in his bio. So
yeah, everything was crazy back then. Yeah.
It was unsanctioned, basically.
Very unsanctioned. Yeah, a lot of my fights were very unsanctioned too. So
yeah,
you did what you had to do.
Oh man, I fought. I know a few times for good old John George. So you remember John George?
I sure do. I still talk.
I love John though. We'll have to get him on the podcast. We'll have to get him on the podcast sometime. Get him to talk some
politics now. So.
Oh yeah. He's a big libertarian.
Yeah. He knows his things with the legal books and the other stuff that I don't care about.
That's what you're there for, John. Oh shoot. Yeah, it was crazy back then, I obviously we fought on at least, I had 5 fights. I think I want to say I at least was on at least 3 or 4 with you. I know we're on a fight poster together because I sent you the fight poster with an autograph.
That was pretty funny. I did like that. It is still on my fridge to this day. Thank you. So,
nice. I thought it was on my fridge. I thought it was funny. I was just looking through my my Facebook pictures and I saw that. I was like, oh dang. And I was sending you a bunch of my business cards because you said you have a niche of customers that might be interested in cameras. So I was like, here, just hand these out. So when I sent that out to you, I was like, I'm going to send this poster with him too. And maybe you'll get a good chuckle out of it. So
I loved it. I loved it so much. It went on the fridge and it's going to stay there.
right next to the artwork from your children.
Oh no, I covered that up.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you.
They now hate you, by the way. So
oh dang!
You shouldn't have done that.
Well, priorities.
Those posters, I don't have hardly anything left from then. I pulled one of my belts out from one of my amateur championships the other day, and it's falling apart, and it's broken, and it's cracked, and I'm like, man, I went there for a while. I had to get away from the sport because when I got basically medically told I can't fight anymore. So I was like, oh, I don't want to even watch it. I don't want to see it. I throw a big baby fit like most men do. So I threw a big baby fit, like I had a cold or something, and just didn't want to deal with MMA anymore. I didn't want to see it. But you can't do something that you love doing and it's taken away from you. And that's real hard to go watch the same thing that you love to do and not be able to want to do that thing. So, I never missed a UFC, thankfully, but I got out of the regional scene completely and just didn't want to be around it for a while. So getting back into it most recently in last couple of years, and it's been really interesting to see who's still fighting, who's coaching, who see the progression of not just on the big levels, but on the local levels of these guys moving up. That guy used to fight, I used to watch him on the undercards, when I was fighting, and now he's the coach of his own gym. So I love success. I love seeing other people have success, and it's really cool to see where we're going and where we're growing at in the sport.
Do you think that a lot of these guys that were fighting underneath you at the time are good coaches because of they saw how well where they were lacking and then where the sport went? If that makes sense to you. If I'm saying,
you're saying, so basically, I feel like they benefited from the guys who didn't really benefit from the sport at all because they just did it. And I think, because you see somebody else fails in front of you and you pick up where they didn't do right and you do it right. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do with my fight page now. I'm trying to share local guys as much as I can because there was no promotion of yourself. You had to try and promote yourself. We sold our own tickets. Not only sold our own tickets, we only got a percentage of that ticket that we sold, each single ticket, which wasn't very much.
No.
Face pounded in. So you only had that, and you didn't have these lights and these smoke and all the fun stuff that they have now, where in your on live pay-per-view as a amateur fighter now. So it's like we didn't have all that luxuries that they do now, and so I think that they all seen that, and it kind of just helped the sport grow because we want to make the sport grow, but we want to take some of that pie too. And I think that's what's made it so much better is all the flaws and failures that we had as pioneers starting out are no longer an issue. We always will have issues. It's something that every sport has.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where I'm a name drop True Rev. I love True Rev's presentation of the sport. I wish I would have had that when I was fighting. The fighters get walk out on a stage. They get interviewed afterwards, like all that stuff. It's great. It's just like UFC, and it's great for the local fans, and it's great for them. It's and the
promotion.
I feel like they put together really good matches. Like a lot of them are competitive. A lot of them and it's still going to happen today. Obviously, there's going to be mismatches, but for the most part, I've seen a lot of their fights that are they're pretty solid matchups. And, I feel like they do a good job of that.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I think they do a really good job at matchups, and I think that they do a really good job at promoting individual fighters. I see that, and that's obvious. I work with True Rev, not for True Rev. They're owned by Bob and Carrie Jolly, and they've been like family to me for a very long time. So I do their commentary, and I only do that because of the way I was treated as a fighter when I fought for them. I thought they were just wonderful. They were great. They always took care of me. They were always great with me, and they still are. It's like family. So I just love how much they care about the fighters themselves, along with the fans. A good family-oriented business that gives a good family-oriented show. And when I was fighting, it wasn't the largest cage in the Midwest. It didn't have a live pay-per-view. There was no commentator sitting on the side talking about it or telling you anything. And they've came so far, and I'd love to see that success as well, especially with people that are good people.
It's truly a grassroots kind of thing. Like I remember when they were first starting out, that's like when I was getting out of the sport. It wasn't he had offered me a fight a few times, and I just at that time I was just going through different things and just I wasn't training, and then I just eventually got out of the sport and stuff like that. But like Bob's always been great to me. He knew who I was and stuff. So like, even though I only fought a handful of times, I fought in, some like the Oski crowd, and I would bring people with me and stuff. So, but he was always a great guy. And like, it was nice to see like the progression of his company from where it was to where it is now. It's just, it's insane.
It's grown. I think at this point we've got over $100,000 in electronics for everything. That might be even higher than that. I mean, he puts everything back into the business or back into the fighters, back into making it better for everyone, so that the show is better, that it entertains better. It's not like there's not a lot of money made on regional circuit fights. You have to have a lot of money to put into it, and you don't get a whole lot of back out of it after everybody's paid and all your stuff's been bought. So it's a matter of, when it comes to the regional circuit, it's a matter of everybody getting together and pitching in and helping with some particular part of the organization. So it's really nice to see all these people come together. It just brings everybody together like a big old huge family. We watched for one of the last shows in Ottumwa, we actually got to sit inside where the cage is at, in the auditorium there, or the Bridgeview Center, and watch a Kansas City Chiefs football game, which I know you don't like.
Hey, if anybody's watching here, Hashmark Sports obviously is who are under, but I'm on the Hashmark Sports show, which we do the NFL betting. I actually bet on the Chiefs for the Super Bowl.
Wow.
I don't bet with my heart. I bet with my head. It's just
you can't with that anything. That's why I always lose in fights when I bet on them, because I bet with my heart, not my head.
So, and like, I know, like, I knew, here's the things I look at. I'm like, so you're telling me that the Chiefs are basically underdogs in this game. You're telling me that Mahomes is injured, everybody else is injured, Chiefs don't have a chance. I go, I'm gonna book the Chiefs. I'm gonna put the money on the Chiefs, and they won. I also had a few different bets on there. I had Patrick Mahomes win the MVP, which he did, and then I think Travis Kelce would catch a touchdown. I'm not stupid. I might not like the Chiefs, but I can at least be a fan that sees, like, I'm not like one of those homers, like, like a lot of Raiders fans can be. But
I just want to see two teams play that are equally. And that goes, right back into fighting. I don't want to see somebody just get spanked. And there's nothing interesting to watch somebody get hurt. Same goes with any sport. You don't want to watch a high school team going up against a pro team in any sport that there is, because somebody's gonna get hurt. It's just not fun. So yeah, I mean I like that in fighting. When you got the right matchups, when you see somebody just get pummeled by another guy, it's not interesting. It's embarrassing for the guy that's getting pummeled, and it's just not fun. It's not good for anyone there, because it's obvious that there's a mismatch. So the Chiefs had a few mismatches, but they become a really good team. They were terrible for a long time. I mean, let's be honest, almost my entire life up until the recent points. So
I'm waiting for the Raiders to turn it around eventually here, but I don't know. We were going in the right direction, then we kind of, I feel like we're going back in the wrong direction. But this is an MMA show, not a football show, so I mean, I feel like we've rambled a lot about our past. We should probably talk about something from the present.
Yeah, so we got a fight card coming up for UFC this weekend. This is a fight night. Yep. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's Krylov versus Span. I think there's a lot of good fighters on this card. Like just even on the preliminaries, I know not every fan is going to know these names, but like I've seen like Eric Gonzalez fight. Thought he was pretty good. I've seen O'Day Osborne fight. I've seen who is it? Jordan Levitt fight, Jasmine Jasdavicius fight. Those are all fighters on the prelims that I've watched fight, and they're fun to watch. Some of these fight night cards, you look at them and you go, you're almost like Conor McGregor. You're like, who the fuck is this guy?
It happens. It does happen. I mean, you got to test the water somewhere, right? I mean, you got to give the guys a chance to grow up the ranks, and that's the thing is there's just a lot. The sport's grown so much that there's so many fighters out there now. It's nice to see. Problem is you can get lost in the pack, and just like you're saying, who the is this? We don't know. It'd be great, and if he doesn't make it to main card, a lot of people don't know that who those people are.
Yeah, that's I've always said that about a fight night. If there's nobody on there that that's when the card's going to get exciting, because there's going to be a lot of people that want to show who they are.
Hungry fighters are fun to watch. Fighters is what you need. It's not always about skill. I mean, there is a skill point where you don't want to see that person fight because they're not skillful enough, but it's not always about skill. Sometimes it's just about entertaining us as fans, and it's not always just about how good you do. I mean, if I am a wrestler and take somebody down and lay on them the whole time, it's not really interesting.
No,
I might win, but I got to do something else with that. Like Mark Coleman back in the day, used to pummel. So I think these kind of cards, when you don't really necessarily know every single fighter on them, that's what they do. I agree. They get real good, and it's because these guys are hungry. They want to step up those ladder rungs and get going.
Mm-hmm. So the first, I figured we would just cover the main card, because if we went through every fighter on the card, it could be kind of like not everybody's going to pay attention to it. So if we kind of go over the main card and kind of go over our opinion on some things, that would be the best. So the first fight of the night, we start out with Mike Malott versus Johan Lioness. In this fight, Malott is favored. He's I know you probably don't know the understand the betting lines, but Mike Malott's minus 220, which is a decent sized favorite. He's not like a huge favorite, but like he's favored pretty well. He's going against Johan Lioness, and both guys have similar records. If you look out on Google, they say they have Mike Malott at 8-1-1. If you look at the actual UFC page, they have him as 2-0. So I don't really understand why UFC has him at 2-0, and then on Google they have him 8-1-1. But some big things that really stand out to me here is that Johan has about a 2.5 inch reach advantage, and I always with welterweight, I feel like a reach advantage of any kind is always something to watch out for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That reach advantage can be a huge plus. And Malott, though, he's favored. He just had a fight with Mickey Gall at his last fight, and he won that. So I can see why he might be the favorite, even though they're like I said, the records are very similar. Most of Johan's fights have been from knockout. And I believe we're kind of on the other side with Mike Malott, that he's got a little more submission prowess in his finishes and he may take that fight down. If you don't have that stop to stop that fight from being taken down, you can't do much.
Yeah, I can see why Johan's favorite here, or not favored, but the underdog here. Grappling is kind of a big deal. I I don't know why I want to go with Johan Lioness here. It's kind of, I don't know if it's just an instinct here, but like I feel like he's scrappy. He's a guy that I feel like it's like one of those things where, if Malott can't get him down, it's one of those things where he could be in a stand-up battle, and who knows how it's going to go for him.
Yeah, you don't want. I mean, that could go very bad. If the wrestlers always seem to have the advantage, I believe, just because of that. You take them out and you have control. It may not be the most interesting fight in the world, but you have that control. So I think that makes a big difference. I'm going to go with Malott on the first fight there. I think he goes with the odds. The odds are in his favor for a reason, and he's got this wrapped up. I do like that it's Canada versus Canada. I think that's interesting. So I don't know how two Canadians are going to punch each other in the face. Does
UFC just have this like all messed up because it has Lioness from Canada and then Malott from the United States. Wow.
I've seen that too. It's and then if you go into Malott, his actual record is 8-1-1. So I don't know why it says it the way it does on there as 2-0, but I think somebody's just not doing a great job.
Someone get a hold of that guy. Yeah, it's weird. But I'm gonna go with Lioness. I think he's just, I don't know why. I can't really. I just think he's that scrappy that he's gonna pull out the underdog win here.
I think he's got the chance if it stays standing. I don't know if it's gonna. I think if it goes to the ground, I think that makes a big difference. So.
Yeah. I just, if he can, I don't know how good his takedown defense is. I haven't really.
We'll find out probably. I mean, I guess we'll see if even maybe they stand and bang. Maybe they don't. Nobody wants to go to the ground.
His takedown defense is 89%. So
how many?
I don't know where it's at.
Out of 4.
Yeah, something stupid. But yeah, he's not good at takedowns. His accuracy is 29%. He's got 6 wins by knockout and 5 first round finishes. So I could see where if the fight gets out of the first round, it could go from a lot. But I would say, if they start out, I think the first round, if Lioness can get done in the first round, that's where he gets it done. If it goes past the first round, ain't gonna happen.
I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree. That's how I kind of was picturing it in my head too. We'll find out for sure when they actually fight. But that's what I agree with you on that prospect or aspect of it, that they get out of round 1. And the favor goes to Malott.
The second card that UFC has fight on the main card is Tatiana Suarez versus Montana De La Rosa. This fight, this is a mismatch. Suarez is favored. She's minus 750. De La Rosa is plus 550. In those terms, like betting, that's pretty much like a lock. You have to, if you're one to put, it's pretty much on, like, if you're betting this fight, you would want to bet on the outcome of this fight. Like, you would want to say Suarez by knockout, Suarez by submission, Suarez by decision. I think I said decision, knockout, submission, something like that, or under so many rounds. The thing with women's fights are you don't see a lot of them go finished. You see a lot of them go to decision. So this fight is very odd, though. I just don't know why they have such a mismatch. Maybe they wanted to keep Tatiana fighting. I don't really know. It looks like
what we call a tune-up fight in that aspect, and they're just trying to get better. There's a discrepancy in weight, height, and reach, and it goes the opposite way of what the odds say.
SureDog says it's at flyweight, so I don't know if flyweight's 115, right?
It's 125.
I thought bantamweight's was 125. So straw weight's 115. So Suarez is coming up in weight. Maybe she's fighting a taller opponent. I mean, I think she wins it, but it's like, I don't know why.
If it goes decision, like you were talking about, if it goes decision, I think, and we're talking, you've got somebody who didn't have to cut down to your weight. You were just trying to get up to their weight. You got extra weight to carry around. I mean, she doesn't cut to 120, or she cuts to 125. De La Rosa, she's not weighing 125 on fight night. So, how much extra is that weight to carry around? Is it gonna wear you out? Is that gonna affect it? Because that can make a difference in a fight massively.
If I'm De La Rosa, honestly, against Suarez, I'm probably going to use my reach to like keep her at bay, and just maybe if I can get her against the cage and make her wear some of my weight, because obviously she's not used to wrestling or fighting someone at 115 or at 125. I mean, if she can get that weight on her, grind her against the cage and get a takedown up against the cage, maybe. But that's I don't know how well De La Rosa is at grappling, but she's got 8 wins by submission, so she's obviously good at grappling. It's just, can she get Suarez down there and make her wear that weight and wear her down? Suarez, I mean, she's probably the favorite. She's been she's kind of well rounded. She's got 2 knockouts, 3 submissions, and 3 decisions. So,
that's a really big discrepancy. So that's 750 to 550.
I mean, she's got a win over Carla Esparza too, who just lost to Wiley Zhang. So it's Suarez is pretty good. I mean, I'm gonna say Suarez wins this. I don't going up in weight. Oh man, I don't know. I don't think she. I think if she wins it, it's by decision. I don't think she knocks out De La Rosa, but
that's also another thing. Is harder. I mean, it's harder to have knockout power in the first place at 115, 114 pounds, right? But
De La Rosa's only been knocked out once in her 7 losses, so she's gonna have to grind out a decision against her. So
I would definitely use my weight advantage, my reach advantage, and move forward with that, and just try and wear somebody out and push them into the deeper rounds, because they're probably going to actually be a little bit better off. They don't have to cut weight. So in that aspect, but to make them carry your weight, like you said, it'll wear you out.
Yeah.
Make a big enough difference.
So if I'm picking something to bet on this fight, I'm probably saying Tatiana Suarez to win this by decision. I just don't think I don't think she has I don't think De La Rosa has the ability to beat Suarez, but I mean, she's got the keys to do it, but I just don't think she's going to be able to do it. I think Suarez pulls it out, but I don't know. That's a big underdog to pick if you pick De La Rosa, but
hey, what's the money end up being on that? I mean, if you take a chance and put $1 down and
you would win. it'd be $5.50 if you bet, I believe. If you bet $1, you'd win $5.
Hey, that's a good deal. You got an extra $1 to throw away.
Yeah.
5 things off a $1 menu.
Give you what? McDonald's
5 things off a $1 menu.
Oh, fuck. Hey, you got to remember tax there.
Oh yeah. Taxes always get you, don't they?
They do. Next, we got Augusto Sakai versus Dontel Mays. I like Augusto Sakai. He's something.
He's something.
He's not the most athletic heavyweight, but
it's a real good close matchup. These guys are both coming off of losses, and I think you'll see a lot out of them. But you got a big reach advantage. That's huge. 4 inches difference,
especially at heavyweight.
Yeah, and heavyweights are standing. Heavyweights are standing banging. They're not most of the time not wrestlers. You do see it, time to time, but not all. Not a lot. Those guys who came from wrestling, but they end up standing up with each other and wanting to punch each other's heads off, and that's just a lot of weight you thrown around with that reach. I mean, and the leg reach is another 2 inches difference too, right? So
yeah, Sakai has fought. He has lost his last 4 fights. What?
He's on a 4-fight skid.
Yeah, he's fought some tough guys. He's fought Overeem. He's fought Rosenstrike. He's fought Tui Taivasa, which I don't care who you are. Tui hits like a tank.
Yeah,
like
Taivasa's got some power in his arms there. So yeah, I agree there.
So and then Mays is coming off of no contest. UFC 277. It was overturned. I don't know what it was overturned for. Maybe possibly the pop for a PED.
Oh, really?
Do you know anything about that?
I haven't heard anything, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah, it just says no contest on there, so I didn't know if you had any ideas what it was.
No contest could have been an eye poke. It could have been any kind of foul that you can't come back from. A knee to the head while you're grounded. Aljamain Sterling and Jan, when Peter Yan, when they fought, and Peter, that'd be a no contest. No, that wasn't a no contest because he won that. So hold on, what am I thinking here?
Okay. I just saw that. I don't know where I saw it, but it was overturned. So yeah, it was something. Here, let me see what it was. I'm contentious split decision later to Adel. So he lost the fight, and the guy that he fought tested positive for anabolic steroids. So
shit. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's turned to a no contest because he doesn't technically win, but it was not a loss because
I mean he's beaten Josh Parisian, and then so that's he's a name. But yeah, I mean, I feel like on this one, I'd say probably on this one, the odds on this one are Sakai is favored by he's favored. He's minus 135, and Dontel Mays is plus 115. I might go with the dog here in Dontel Mays. I think
I would go too. He's bigger. He's got a bigger reach. He's got a bigger reach with his feet, his hands. Weight wise, they're about the same. Actually, Mays is a little smaller weight wise, but I would go with that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would go with Mays on this one. I think he's gonna come in with a little bit of an attitude from the last fight.
I like his nickname, Lord Kong, though. So that's
that's good. That's good.
Oh shoot! And then I believe the co-main. I've just minimized my show notes there, so I don't know where it went. There we go.
Andre Muniz and Brendan Allen.
It is Andre Muniz versus Brendan Allen. What are your thoughts on this one?
Nice. I think this is gonna be a good fight. I really, really think this is an interesting fight. I don't think the odds are quite where they should be. I think this will be a lot closer than the odds even show. But they're very, very well matched. I mean, there's a little bit of reach advantage on Andre Muniz's side, but I don't see that really being a huge factor against Brendan Allen. We'll see. But I think this is going to be a lot closer than really anticipated, and hopefully it is, because that would be nice to have a good long back and forth chess match fight.
I like Brendan Allen. I collect sports cards. I actually have a card that I won that was an autograph of Brendan Allen. Great submission guy. I think he's sneaky like that. But we also got Muniz, who's a grappler and submission guy too. So it's just looks like though Muniz has just been on a roll since he's been in the UFC. Brendan Allen is he's had hiccups against Sean Strickland, who he's at the top of the division. Or not the top. He's near the top. He's top 5. Chris Curtis, who he's also in that same area too. I don't want to go against Brendan Allen, but it's just like sometimes when you get into a rhythm like Muniz, it's hard to stop it. Hard to stop that momentum. He's beat Jacare, which Jacare he hasn't had the best fight record recently, but and he's beat Uriah Hall. I kind of just want to say I kind of want to go with Brendan Allen just because I think he's fought some bigger names.
I can understand that. I think that's a very good fight. I mean, the odds aren't far off. It's not super bad.
I think this is potential fight of the night.
But that's kind of where I was going with it too. This is going to be a road. It's either going to go quick or it's going to be a great fight. Either that or someone's going to get caught fast. I think both these guys are going to come out really wanting to finish this fight quickly, but it's not. I don't think it's going to go quickly. So that's usually when you get a nice barn burner fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say I'm go against what I really think here. I would say Brendan Allen, and that's more like I think he pulls this one off.
Yeah, he's sneaky. It's like you look at him and you're like, this dude ain't that great. And then he comes in and he gets a submission. You're just like, where'd that come from?
Yes, the wins are sneaky. Like you're not expecting it. So I don't want to be caught holding the bag here and be like, oh well, I should have went with what I thought instead of what makes sense. And Andre Muniz makes sense to say he's going to win. The odds are in his favor. He's got a good record behind him. He's ranked higher. Everything points at him to be able to win this fight, except for when you look at everything on the backside of Brendan Allen. And I think I got to go with Brendan Allen on this one.
Yeah, they're so is it? Muniz is ranked number 11, so Brendan Allen is not.
Right. So then that means he's at minimum 4 people away. So I understand Muniz being the favored person, but it's always somebody knocking at the door trying to take your position. So we'll see. Maybe Brendan Allen actually gets to move up into the ranks here, or Muniz just gets a win under his belt.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have a battle of light heavyweights between Nikita Krylov and Ryan Spann.
Ryan Spann is good.
I like Ryan Spann.
That's hard to go against.
But you hate to go against someone from the Ukraine.
I mean, yeah.
Krylov has a victory over Gustafsson, which I like. Gustafsson, he's obviously not what he used to be, but the Gustafsson's a former contender,
contender,
yeah. He fought John Jones twice. Krylov's also beat OSP, which I feel like OSP is kind of like a stepping stone anymore, but still a solid competitor. He's beat Johnny Walker. His losses are to Glover, Ankalaev, and Paul Craig, which are all very, very good competitors. He's also lost to Serkinov.
Heavy, very heavy, and master grapplers. Glover Teixeira is just an animal on the ground. Even at not his age now, he was still manhandling people on the ground. So
Krylov's been in the UFC for a minute, though. He's been in since 2013, so he's been around. He's been in the sport for a while, and I've watched Spann, and the last 2 times I've watched him fight, I've bet against him, and he's won both times. So it's finally, is it going to be the time where I bet on him that he loses, or is it going to be the time where I bet on him that he wins? I don't know. Is it time to drink the Kool-Aid is what I'm asking.
Right. On this one, I think Krylov has the bigger resume. I guess it's just a matter of which one of him shows up, the one that is gonna smash the guy in front of him, or the one that's going to get smashed, because we all have a different personality or a different guy that shows up on fight night. You don't know what you're gonna get on fight night. That person that I don't have that drive. If he shows up and he's ready to go, he wins. I just don't see Krylov losing this fight, but I do see it being very close odds wise. I've seen that, and I don't think that I would want to say Ryan Spann heart wise, but if we're putting money on it, I'm going the other way. So
yeah. So also a fun fact: Ryan Spann lost to Johnny Walker, and then Nikita Krylov has beat Johnny Walker. It's one of their common opponents.
That's another thing. Johnny Walker is one of those people that doesn't show up sometimes. Sometimes it just wasn't him. That kid's got so much talent. It's just a matter of who he is on fight night. I notice a big difference sometimes in him.
The intangibles on these guys on both these guys are pretty much the same. So it's like the height or the reach advantage is like 1.5 inches. Depends on who you ask. 1.5 inches might be a lot.
I hear that is a giant amount in the fighting world. So
in the fighting world, yeah.
I think this will be a good fight. I mean, this is another candidate for. It's either going to go really, really, really fast, or they're going to be in the mat up for fight of the night. But I think Krylov takes this fight.
Yeah, Krylov is favored in this fight. He's on Caesars, which is why I use. He's -170 and Spann is +145. Spann, I've doubted him the last 2 times, and I kind of want to do it again, but it's like it's an instinct. I'm like, I just don't know if I can. So, he's got good submissions, 12 submission wins, 6 knockouts, and 3 decisions. Krylov, I think just by volume, he's going to have a lot more, but he's got 12 knockouts and 15 submissions. Krylov can do it both ways. I don't know. It's hard to pick this one. I'm gonna go Span because I don't want to be that guy that picks Krylov and knew Span was gonna win all along.
I get that.
Yeah, and that's the
interesting matchup. These are all going to be at the Apex in Vegas, and that's a smaller cage. So
I love the Apex.
The Apex seems to put on, I guess, more fired up fights because I think the size. I think the size is the difference. It's so small that these guys can't get away from each other. They can't reset in time. So it's just got to fire back right away.
Yeah.
So that makes for very interesting nights.
So we timed that pretty well. We're a little over an hour.
Not too bad.
And we hit everything we wanted to talk about. Otherwise, we could sit here and talk another hour, I'm sure, about all shit. But the people's attention span, Josh, are not.
You got to get them to come back. So everybody's got to come back, and we appreciate everybody that watches this because it's our first rodeo here on together doing a podcast. So bear with us, and we'll keep bringing some more info and fun.
We're gonna get you better audio equipment.
Yeah. We'll get some better stuff going.
We're gonna get it. If it's maybe we'll start a one of those GoFundMe's or like something like that. just help some poor podcasters out.
I just need a new mic. Come on.
Can we get a new mic and a laptop here?
I need some nice things, please.
A webcam.
Take care of.
Oh yeah. No. We'll if we have to do it like this for about 4 or 5 shows, 6 shows, 20 shows, we'll do it. People will come back for the content. That's what it's about. We're gonna bank on your following. I don't have the following like you do. Everybody knows you. All the local people. So
I'm so famous. The Casey's lady remembers me now because I eat pizza there every single day. So yeah.
What weight class did you fight at when you were in MMA?
Man, 145 for most of my career, and then I had a short stint at 135, which was insane. I never should have cut that far, but I never cut much. I walked around at 160, and now I'm walking around at like light heavyweight. Some of you will get that and be able to understand what weight that is, and anybody who doesn't know doesn't need to know.
I was down around that weight for a while, but I put some weight back on. I lost 30 pounds in October with that pancreatitis, but I did not feel strong at all. Like my body is not meant to be down that far. I don't think. Maybe if I did it like over a course of time, but not like all at once. But
it's cutting weight. I do think there needs to be a little bit of a difference of how we do weight cuts and stuff, and that's something we can touch on in a different podcast, because that's something we can get real deep into. But weight cuts need to kind of go away. They're not safe. They're bad for the body. People need to be able to fight at a natural weight, or at least closer to natural weight. You shouldn't be 220 and cut into 155, or it's just not good for your body. Later in life, it's not good for your body. It's taking damage when you're not healthy. So that would be something good to get into, because I'm passionate about fighter safety. We didn't have that in our era. So
no.
And I'm very passionate about making sure people get to live long lives and happily ever after if possible.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll cut it there, and we'll keep the people happy at about an hour. So I was glad I feel like we had a really good first podcast. I think we got something going here.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you getting with me and doing this, and hopefully we do a lot more.
All right. Until next time, guys, it's been Brian the Beast Eastlick.
And Josh the Little Spartan Smith.
And this has been Locked Cage MMA.